I still can't quite believe it, but I won the Streamer Showdown this weekend. What an absolutely mental weekend we've had. To everyone who came out in the weekend to support over the Streamer Showdown, even when we're at our lowest lows, right down at the bottom, and had to be in that elimination game, every single round that we went on to win, you guys came out, supported, and this is a win for all of us. Thank you very much. You love to see it. Hello and welcome back to the Leeds United FM20 Save. Hope you're all doing well today. And for those of you who didn't quite understand that intro, over the weekend I was playing against other Football Manager creators in a big competition, and this guy won. It was a fantastic weekend, a fantastic competition, and a fantastic moment to win it. And I did say if we won it, I'd give away a copy of FM20 121 Lucky Person, and we did that, and we've given that copy away. But, I hear you ask, is there going to be another copy to give away? Of course there is. Link down in the description to win a copy of Football Manager 21. There's different ways to enter, various different ways to enter this competition. So get yourselves down in the link below. If you don't want to wait and try and win a competition, there is a link down there to 2Game as well, where I've teamed up with them to bring you one of the best prices around on the internet for FM21. Cheaper than Steam. You basically get given a code to put into Steam, so it's all the same thing. Works on the Steam, works on Epic I think as well. I also get a bit of a kickback from that as well, so it helps the channel grow and develop and things like that. So it's a win-win for all of us. Back into today's episode though, it's transfer time. It's time to do some transfers. However, as I record this, it is actually 4:20 now in Monday afternoon. I've got to get this out to you for 8 o'clock, so it's not going to be a full transfer special like we've done before. I did say the other day that it probably wouldn't be the same because of the Streamer Showdown this weekend and how busy I'm going to be. And I was very busy and then had to play the whole night and win all the games. So not quite the usual transfer special, but what I will do first and foremost with you is talk about what we need to do with the team. Obviously, the season that we've just had, we came 8th in the table again, which is rather disappointing, just missing out on those European places. However, we did go and win the Carabao Cup, which gave us a Europa Conference League place, but that Europa Conference League place has now been promoted to a Europa League place because Tottenham Hotspur have just gone and won the Europa League themselves, and what that means is they've qualified for the Champions League now. So there's now 5 English teams in the Champions League, but you can't have more than 7 English teams in European football at all. So we get Tottenham's place in the Europa League, and Norwich obviously get the other place in the Europa League as well from winning the FA Cup. So we've had a bit of promotion already. We're not in the Conference League, we're in the Europa League, and we've got to factor that into our planning for transfers. Now, if I'm honest with you, I don't really feel like we need to do huge amounts of business. I feel like we've got a very solid team. We just need to add a couple of improvements. First and foremost, attacking midfielder. Now, Vital has not been the player we thought he was going to be, essentially, and it's just not quite worked out. At the same time, we are conceding quite a lot of goals, too many goals. So I propose what we do for next season is that, get a defensive midfielder in there instead to just help with the back line, but also help to push forward a little bit. So I think we sell Vital and we get an attacking midfielder in. Goalkeeper is the next place I want to talk to you about. I put my case forward as to what I want to do with Finalizing, and a lot of you guys agree with me, but a lot of you guys didn't agree with me. What I think we will do, though, is bring in another goalkeeper. So at least there's competition there, and if one of them doesn't do well, we can bring in another keeper. So Finalizing is likely to stay at the club, but I want to bring someone else in. The next thing we need to talk about is a striker. Now, this is a difficult one, because Rodrigo, I'd be stupid to let him go. 16 goals, 21 goals, 16 goals. Really solid player. However, 13 of those 16 goals that he scored, if we look at his form, came in his most recent 13 games, which is just mind-blowing, really. Now, what it shows to me is, when he's in form, he's a bloody great striker. However, he was only in form for 13 games. That's not quite what we want to be seeing. We want to be seeing him in form all season. So whilst I don't think we'll be selling him, I think maybe another striker might be a good idea. So these are the 3 main positions that I want to be looking at. There are a couple players that I think are worth getting rid of. Obviously, I spoke about Vital before. Thomas Belmont as well. I think his time has run at the club. He's never really played huge amounts of football, and when he has, it's not been spectacular. So I think his time is sort of up at the club, if I'm honest with you. Rodrigo, if a good bid comes in for him, I wouldn't say no, because I know he's in his last year of his contract right now. So if a big bid comes in, I wouldn't say no. And Tyler Roberts is a bit of an enigma, because this season we're going to have Bartol Barisic, we're going to have Joe Geldhart, we'll have Rodrigo. Tyler Roberts doesn't really fit in anywhere, but he is English and counts towards all our domestic player counts for the league and for European football. So he's kind of got to stay around for that. So not sure what we'll do with him yet, but we'll probably keep him around. A lot of these youngsters will probably go out on loan as well, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to try and execute this now over the next hour or so, try and really go through it quickly so I can then finish recording, edit it, render it, and upload it for you guys for 8 o'clock. Wish me luck. Before I do go forward though, thank you so much for support on the videos again recently. I know I've been really rubbish with the comment section because I've been so busy recently. I will get back to the comments this week, which would be really good. But if you can get the likes target to 200 likes a day, that would be mental. Would love to see it. Thank you very much. And just like that, I am back. I've done the whole transfer window. It's been a lot busier than I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest with you. A lot busier, but we're here. We've done business. Some of it you might not be happy with, if I'm honest with you, but I've got reasons for it all. First things first, I want to talk you through two players who I didn't sell, but really thought about selling them because it got really close at one point. First things first, Tomiyasu. Big bids came in for him, as you can see. Everton made a deal for 34 million, rising to 37 million. I thought, no, I don't want to succumb to that. He's a very good wing back for us. I want to keep him for now. So I rejected it. I rejected the bid. But another one came in from Everton later on. 36 million, rising to 49 million. I took that seriously. I looked for other right backs and wing backs around, and there was no one who was as good as him for a decent price who I wanted to have the club, basically. So I ended up rejecting the bid from Everton, even though I probably shouldn't have, because it's a huge amount of money. At the time, we didn't need the money, so I didn't give him up. I also rejected a huge bid from West Ham for Farinez as well. Didn't put him up for transfer list, wanted to keep him at the club, but West Ham wanted to try and take him off me for 29, rising to 32 million pounds. I was so tempted to accept it, but I didn't. He's still at the club, so don't worry. And whilst I think about it as well, some of our youngsters had huge bids come in for them. 17-year-old Thaddeus Davis, 6.5 million, rising to 14 million pounds. It was really tempting. But no, he stays at the club. He'll develop with us. He'll be a great player in the future. So as you can tell, we had some pretty decent bids coming through, and other players have gone for similar sorts of bids that came in. Players that I weren't expecting to leave the club, but ended up leaving the club because we got such good bids coming in for you. So we'll go to the transfers. And first things first, we'll talk about the outs. So as you can see, £119 million we've made from transfers. And right at the top, you'll see Rodrigo is gone. Now, I wasn't planning to let Rodrigo go, but it came up that he didn't want to sign a new contract. He had no interest in signing a new contract, and he had 1 year left in his contract. It was either sell him now or just not make any money off him in 12 months' time, let him go on a free transfer. So I thought we'll try and get money for him, and he's gone to Shanghai, I believe that is, in China for 34 million. Unfortunately, the rest of the players weren't very happy that I let Rodrigo go, thinking that we weren't very strong in the attack, and they've got some concerns, I suppose, because maybe Bartel Barisic, Joe Gelhardt quite aren't up there yet. But in my opinion, they will be there in a season's time or so. But I've had to tell them that I will get someone else in, and we have got someone else in, but they're going to be more of a backup player. I'm not going to use them properly. I'd rather use Gelhardt and Barisic. Next up, just below, is Lautaro Valenti. He's left the club for 28 million, rising to 35 million pounds to Derby. This was another sort of bid that just randomly came in, and I thought that's too good to turn down. We got some very good money for him, so I thought I'd let him leave the club. Nedliakov, I feel like I should have a screenshot about this. He's gone to Leicester for 25 million, rising to 30 million pounds. Leicester originally came in saying we want to pay you 60 million pounds, rising to 20 million. And I thought I'd just be cheeky and push things up, because I didn't really want to let him go. He's a very good tutor to our young players. But I put the price up to 20 up front, 5 in the future, and 5 after 50 games. And they accepted it. So £30 million for a 29-year-old Nedliakov, who isn't actually first team material for us, I thought was a cracking deal that we couldn't turn down. Also going to Leicester, they've actually taken quite a few of our players this transfer window, so you need to watch out for them. They've also taken for £19.25 million Matthias Vital. Didn't quite perform for us. He wanted to leave the club. I wanted him to leave the club, so he has gone for a decent amount of money. Persha's also leaving the club. He was our backup last season. Didn't really do much. He's gone to Nantes for 4.8, rising to 6. Thomas Belmonte's gone to Derby for £4.4 million. A shame to lose him, but he never quite lived up to his hype, so off he goes. Robbie Gott's also gone to Hull for 1.5 million. We did end up losing Xavi Maceda, the youth intake player from last season. He was desperate to leave the club, never wanted to sign a contract with us, and have decided that the best option for him is to go to Championship side West Brom. Who knows what that's about? I don't know, but he's made a big mistake there, and we're going to make him pay for that in the future. And the final sort of big player to leave the club is Guillermo Valenzuela. Now, he is a guy we bought in last season from Mexico for a lot of money. We then sent him back on loan to Mexico, and he did very well there, I must say. Nearly a 7 rating across all his games. He was going to be backup for us this season until Leicester came in, and they said to me, Tom, can we have him, and can he be an important player for us? And I thought, well, if he's going to play in the Premier League, he'll play for us. But if he's going to get more game time at Leicester, he'll develop quicker, become a better player. So I'm pretty happy for him to go to Leicester, get on loan there, play a full season, because he is down to be, might stay on here somewhere. Either way, they said important player. He's down to be an important player, so fingers crossed he just gets 30 games this season, and that'll be amazing for us. But they are all the outs. Lots of players going out on loan as well below my head, as you can see. So hopefully some of our youngsters will develop and generate themselves into great players. Now it's time to look at the ins. And we've spent £134 million, which is a big amount of money, I must say. First things first is Matt's Boomer guy came in. He was a player that we bought in the past. We had to wait for him to turn 18 to actually join the club. So ignore him. He's one for the future. The first big money signing we made, though, was a chap called Renier from Santos for £22.5 million. He's a right winger. And he's saying, Tom, why are you signing a right winger for a lot of money when you've got Holozek? Well, I was thinking maybe if Rodrigo is in his last year of his contract and we look to get rid of him at some point, but this was before the bid came in and before I knew that Rodrigo's contract, he wasn't going to sign a new one, I thought it might be a good idea to get an actual very good other player on right wing, and then we can try and develop Holozek to become more of a striker. So that's the plan with Holozek. He'll become more of a striker. Renier will become more of the winger, but of course if he gets injured, Holozek can come in on the wing. It'll be great. But 16 crossing, 17 dribbling, his pace is 15, acceleration 15. He looks really good. I'm a big fan of his attributes, and I think he'll be a great player for us. He also scored 16 goals one season for Santos, which I think is phenomenal in 51 games from the right wing, so hopefully he does that for us as well. Next up for £27.5 million, it's 15 up front and then 12.5 in the future over 3 seasons' time, so we've not paid it all up front for him. But Martin van der Voort comes in from Genk, and he is going to be the keeper which is going to battle with Farinas. 20 years old, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. There's not an awful lot between them, so we'll probably start with Farinas this season, but slowly move towards this guy, because I think he's probably the future and will probably end up a little better than Farinas down the line. So I'm very pleased to welcome him to the club. Been playing at Genk his whole career and seems to keep a lot of clean sheets. 21 in the 2020-21 season. That's a huge amount of clean sheets. Next up is Marco Varane from Atalanta for £18.5 million. Valenti, the bid came in for him, and I thought we need to get another centre-back into the club. I looked on who was available, and this guy comes up. Marco Varane can play with both feet as a ball-playing defender. Looks really, really solid. He's just exactly what we need to be right in behind Ferro and right in behind Josko. Can play on either side of the defence as well, because he's got 2 feet on him. So I thought he was a very worthwhile investment, and I'm so happy that we've been able to bring him into the club. He's been playing at Atalanta for the past few seasons, doing very well for himself, as you can see, so hopefully we'll do the same for us. Next up, which I think is a bit of a steal, £11.25 million for Titouan Thomas from PSG, a 20-year-old defensive midfielder. He'll come in to be the star CDM this season. Apparently is a wonder kid, so hopefully we'll see a good bit of development from him, but he looks really solid across everywhere. There's no real weakness to his game apart from heading and finishing, which he doesn't necessarily need to be doing too much of, I must say, in that CDM position. So hopefully he'll be a great player for us. Was at Lyon, was at Inter, was at PSG, and is now with us. Never really settled in anywhere, but hopefully he'll settle here with us and do brilliantly for us. We also had to deal with Anton Nedvyakov leaving the club for nearly £30 million, so we've had to bring someone in to replace him, and Arthur Zagre from Monaco from £15 million I think is a fantastic deal. Again, another kid described as a wonder kid, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. His crossing and dribbling is pretty decent, I must say. His physicals are insane, and his mentals aren't too shabby either, so a bit of development, a bit of tutorage, he will become a very solid player for us this season. Might even end up starting over Oliver. Probably won't at the start of the season, but by the end of it, hopefully he'll be our first choice player for us. Hasn't really had much game time anywhere so far, so hopefully he'll develop for us and play really well, and he'll make his position his own. Now, before we get into these two Newcastle players, I'll just briefly talk about Jean-Claude Todibo. We've got him in on loan from Barcelona. Again, we'll probably end up trying to overtake Ferro at some point, but we've got him in as backup for now. 22-year-old in from Barcelona. He's not really developed very well in this save because Barcelona just haven't been playing with him. Was at Wolves a couple of seasons ago on loan and did fairly well, but he does need game time to develop, and Barcelona haven't given him that. So he's not as good as he could be, but he's still a very solid defender for us. In on loan this season, provide very good cover, and we've massively improved that centre-back area. We've really got that much better, so hopefully we won't be conceding so many goals this season. But I thought I'd talk about him first because I know all the questions are going to be asked about Ross Barkley and Callum Wilson, because Newcastle got relegated. Some players had some relegation release fee clauses, and I thought I'd try and capitalise on it. There is ulterior motive to this as well, because we're now in Europe. We've got to have a certain amount of homegrown players in England, and we don't have many of those in and around the first team, so it made sense to sign two English players. Ross Barkley, first and foremost, is actually class. He's really, really good. He'll be our best attacking midfielder and one of the best centre midfielders that we've got. So expect to see him actually play quite a bit this season on fairly reasonable wages as well. We almost got in, what's he called from Chelsea? It's going to annoy me now. What's he called? Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was also available, but he wanted like £150,000 a week, which I wasn't prepared to pay. So we didn't get him, but we did get Ross Barkley. Has been relegated twice with Newcastle, which obviously doesn't quite bode well for us, but hopefully we put him in a better environment, and hopefully we can get him to play really well and not get relegated. And the same can be said for Callum Wilson. We had to get a new striker in because the players were very cross about us not having a new striker and we letting go of Rodrigo. So we've brought in Callum Wilson, who I think technically is probably actually the best striker we've got. But he's not going to play many games because I'd rather be playing Bartol Barisic, Holosek or Joe Gelhardt ahead of him. Now, the database that I'm using was made before he actually transferred to Newcastle. So weirdly, in this save, he actually went to Arsenal first before then going to Newcastle. So that's rather bizarre. But in 13 games for Newcastle, didn't score a goal, but he is a very good striker and will be a really good tutor, I think, to obviously our younger strikers. So if they can sort of take something from Callum Wilson and use it in their game, I think is a worthwhile signing, but also to help us get that English player count up as well. That was also quite important. So they are all the transfers. Don't expect anyone else to leave. Maybe expect one or two more ins from the loan market, I might say, but we'll talk about that more when if and when they do happen, of course. So that's the transfer window. Don't expect any more outs. Maybe expect one or two more loan signings in, but we'll talk about those if and when they actually happen. What it means is we've actually got a fairly big squad this season. I think this is probably the biggest squad that we've ever had at Leeds, as in a first team squad. So we're going to be fine for rotation. We need the biggest squad this season anyway because we've got rotation for cup games and European games and things like that. So we need the bigger squad, but obviously, it's a bit more pricey. The bookies do think we have improved our squad, though. They're now putting us as favourites for 7th this season, as opposed to, I think it was 10th or 11th last season they had us, now 7th, which is really good. So obviously they think we have improved the squad, and they think we've got a good enough chance of reaching that 7th place in the league. There have been a few wonderkid signings as well in the Premier League. Fabio Silva's gone from Wolves to Arsenal. Ryan Gravenberch's gone from Ajax to Chelsea. Esposito's gone from Inter to Man City. Declan Rice from West Ham to Liverpool. Jadon Sancho from Dortmund to Chelsea. So Chelsea now have Sancho on one wing and Mbappe on the other wing, which is pretty mental. And we're playing Chelsea first and foremost in today. SMS has gone from Lazio to Real Madrid. And Torreira's gone from Arsenal to Real Madrid. I mean, Lazio to Man United, not Real Madrid. That's what I meant to say. So quite a few transfers being made. It's quite an interesting window. But let me know what you think of the transfers. I know it's a bit rubbish because I couldn't show you all of them, and I quite enjoyed doing that, actually. I quite enjoy going through it and recording it or editing it all together, and you guys can see the whole process. I know it's a bit more abrupt, but it had to be done, otherwise you wouldn't get a video tonight. This is the team that I want to play for the first game of the season. I want to keep Farines in goal to start things off and see how he does. But Oliver, Josko, Todibo and Tomiyasu are going to make up that back line. So only one new face in the back line for this first game, but there are two new faces in this new look midfield, with Thomas obviously in that deep line playmaker role in the in the centre defensive midfielder position. Barkley is our box-to-box midfielder with Carlos Elena as the Mazzala. Unfortunately, Calvin Phillips is currently injured, so that's why he can't be playing, as is Holozek, actually, just come back from an injury. Dwight McNeil keeps his place on the left-hand side of the pitch. Weirdly, for the first transfer window, we've not actually signed anyone for the left wing, so congratulations, Dwight McNeil. Your place is safe for now. New right winger Renier is on the right wing, obviously, because that's where he plays, and Bartol Barisic will lead the line for us today. So, first game of the season for us against Chelsea. This Chelsea side massively underperformed last season. They've got players like Mbappe up front. They've got Mason Mount. They've got Pulisic. They've got really top quality players, and yet they just couldn't do anything and haven't got European football this season, whereas we do. So we are technically, I'd say, in a better position than they are. And 3 minutes into the new season, new signing, Tituan Thomas, what a fantastic name that is, gets the first goal, assisted by new boy Ross Barkley as well. Bartol Barisic really created the move there by getting the tackle in there, getting it across to Barkley into Thomas, and Thomas unleashed the pile driver into a top corner. What a way to start the season. It is also worth noting, actually, Tomiyasu was close to leaving. Obviously, we spoke about the transfer bids earlier, but I really toyed with it. When I was looking for other right-backs, I put a bid in for Reece James, who's playing for Chelsea right now, and they accepted £27 million for him, so we would have made a healthy profit if we'd sold Tomiyasu for nearly 50 and then got Reece James in for 27. We just couldn't agree on a contract for Reece James. He wanted around the £120,000 a week mark, and I wasn't quite prepared to pay that much money for him when I think the next highest earner at the club is on like £70,000. So it just was a bit too much of a leap up for me for a player that probably doesn't quite deserve that much money, I would say, as Chelsea look to come forward and Mbappe gets his first goal of the season. What a player I can't believe Chelsea have got him and then couldn't do anything with the team. Maybe this season he's had a season to develop, and this now he's going to be, I say a season to develop, he got like 25 plus goals last season in the league alone for Chelsea, so he's still a very good player, but hopefully for Chelsea's sake this season he'll carry them a little bit more. But maybe we've got another chance right now as Renier coming forward on the ball into Bartol Barisic, who was brought down. Is that not a penalty? What's that about? No penalty. I feel like it should be a penalty for us there. Half-time 1-1 is not a bad result. If we can get a draw against... Because this is the type of game last season that we would have lost because our defence isn't strong enough or wasn't strong enough last season. This season, I think with the extra CDM in there, that extra player to sort of just sweep things up in front of the back line, I think we've got a much better chance of winning these sorts of games as McNeil now on the ball coming forward with it. Come on, Dwight McNeil. Show me why I didn't sell you over summer, as I burped a little bit then. I do apologise. As Gravenberch, of course, the new signing, Gravenberch for Chelsea, a fantastic player. If you've not signed him in your saves, try and sign him because he really is so consistently good. In every save I've signed him, he's been absolutely far and away the best player in the team, including Mbappe being in the team as well. So I'd really recommend Gravenberch. But hopefully he won't be very good for Chelsea for the rest of this game. He can have a good season afterwards, but just not right now. Unfortunately, Bartol and McNeil not having the best of games. So, Nassi on you come. And it's time to give Callum Wilson a debut. Let's see if he can score a goal. He didn't score in 13 goals for Newcastle. The issue we might have this season is not being able to score goals, all right? We've lost Rodrigo, which I didn't want to do, but I feel like I had to do because otherwise we'd lose him for no money. I'd rather get £34 million in for him and then, try and get Gelhardt and Barisic to develop really well this season. Of course, when Holozek's back from injury, we can use him. What's this? Is that a penalty? That can't be a penalty. It's not a penalty. It's a free kick. I didn't think it was a foul anyway, but at least it's not a penalty in the 82nd minute as Chelsea look to swing one in. Dan James puts it over the bar. We've got a corner now. Oliver into the middle. Barkley, come on his debut. The ball wasn't clear properly. It bounced around the area just a little bit. And with 7 minutes to go, Ross Barkley gives us the lead this season. And if I'm honest with you, as long as we just win games like 1-0 or 2-1, it doesn't matter how many goals we score. Then what matters is the 3 points. Okay, 3 points is all that matters. And hopefully we come away with 3 points today as Radu, the goalkeeper of Chelsea, looks to clear it up towards Sancho. We've not seen anything from him actually so far, their new signing, as he looks to cut inside. Ooh, it's a dangerous looking ball, but we've managed to just about block it. Hopefully that's the end of the highlight. I don't want to see any more danger. is there going to be a corner? There is going to be a corner on this, and it's put into the middle. Sancho tries to score, but he can't score, and instead Callum Wilson is now using the pace to burn. 18 pace, Callum Wilson. Oh, he's put it wide. He's put it wide. He was my hero, or one of my heroes in the Streamer Showdown this past weekend. That was also kind of why I wanted to sign him, but maybe not so much in this save file, but at least we've won the opening game of the season, and this is by far a game we would have lost last season, so I am over the moon with that. So, next episode, we go in to Europe. I'm not entirely sure when the draw is going to be for the group stage, but I will make sure I record the group stage, and then we will probably come back for either Fulham and the first group stage game, or Man United and the second group stage game, I would imagine. So look forward to that for next time. That's going to be a very exciting episode, and hopefully we get a very kind draw in the Europa League to try and go as far as possible. But until then, thank you ever so much for watching today's episode. If you're still watching, please do drop a like on the video for me. Would massively appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.